So machine is, somehow, what should I say, it's more dudish, more modern, cool, more cool. Farming is not cool. Getting a government job is an easy job, whether you work or you don't work, you get a sense of security. So these two are the most coveted jobs. Now, of course, working in a call center, going to Delhi or Dehradun to a bigger city and finding a job, that's also cool. But they don't want to work in the fields. When I started my schools, there was a sizable animal population in our villages. Cows, buffaloes, and sheep. Today they have gone down by 80%. 80%. And when I asked one of the villagers why this has happened, so he gave me a very simple and innocent and true, honest reply. He said, who is going to raise them? You have taken all our children away to schools. There is no one to raise them. These are hard facts that we who are really concerned, there are no easy answers. And it's not either or kind of a situation. But these are the issues that I think we need to grapple with honestly. And I'm not saying that take a position immediately, but grapple with them. Maybe we'll come with a completely different kind of a solution, a completely different kind of a path. So when going back to Mahatma Gandhi, he says, I picked out 3 of his speeches which I think were relevant for this, and I'll just quote a little bit from there. In one of the speech which he gives on Swadeshi, this idea of Swadeshi is very close to the idea of degrowth, as I assume it to be. And this was given to a missionary conference in Chennai in 1960. Just one line says it all. Swadeshi is that spirit in us which restricts us to the use and service of our immediate surroundings to the exclusion of the more remote, and I add the word after remote, and invisible. Today, if we are talking of degrowth, what I am saying is we need to understand systems. Systems always exist, but systems are not a given. And over the last 100, 200 years, systems have become remote and invisible. 200 years ago, I could see a landlord and I could point my finger at him and say, he's the exploiter. Maybe I couldn't do anything, but I could point the finger at that landlord, I could point the finger at that king and say, he's the exploiter. Today I am unable to do it. It's become remote, it's become invisible. I am getting exploited, I don't know from where the slap is coming. So this needs to, systems have to be humane. We need to understand, we should be able to point out where the fault lies. Today we don't know. Again, I cannot resist narrating a small incident from Mahatma's life. He was arrested first time in India after coming back from England in 1915 when he went to Bihar to fight for there's an area called Champaran, and he was fighting for the rights of people who were forced to produce neem, indigo. So he was arrested and he was brought to in the court, and the judge asked him, yes, Mr. Gandhi, are you guilty? And Gandhi, without hesitation, there's not a single activist in India who understands this, I feel sometimes. Gandhi, without hesitation, says, yes, my lord. And after a pause, he says, but according to your law. Immediately, he steps outside the framework of the law, and then he pleads his case outside that boundary. We tend to get stuck within boundaries of the system. Gandhi knew this so well. So he has, in Hind Swaraj, if you see that book, he's picked up 5 major systems of modernity. Education, the health system, technology, systems of governance, which we call democracy, and 5th is judiciary. 5 main things he's picked up and he's deconstructed them. I feel that should be the touchstone of how can we go about it. That will give us an indication of how to go. And when my friend Vijay Pratap says there is no going back, I would say that please examine your assumptions. There is always going back. Always. Only in war, if you go back, it is supposed to be disrespectful, it is dishonorable, but even there it is done. There is no way you cannot go back. There is a beautiful story in our epic called the Mahabharata. Huh? Yes, the story is happening. This story is about a rishi. Rishi are these sages. He's not a very high rishi, not like the Vyas or the Vishwamitra or Vashisht. He's a small, middle level rishi called Gulf. One day, Gulf rishi has to go to a very far away place on a very urgent and important assignment. He doesn't know how to go about it because he has to reach there immediately. And then he remembers his old friend Garud. Garud is this huge bird which flies at top speed. So he invokes the Garud and requests Garud, can you take me there? It's very important and urgent. And you are the only one who can do it. So he says, okay, sit on my back and I'll take you. So he sits on his back. This fellow takes off, great height, great speed, and Gulf gets very nervous. Because at that height, he can't see anything. It's all dark. And the speed is huge, he doesn't know what to do. So he says, I am breathless, please stop somewhere, I'll die otherwise. So Garud stops somewhere, he regains his breath, he becomes normal, and then he tells Garud, let's go back. So Garud is astonished, he said, but you brought me all this way, you had such an important and urgent task, the thing is still far away, why go back? He says, no, I've realized it was neither urgent nor important. He said, why did you bring me all this way? He said, had I not come all this way, I would have never realized. So let's realize and let's slow down.